Afternoon, everyone. Still Jeff with you here for another live practice. I'm just going to find my practice number 10 of ukulelefoundations.com. This is a practice session in the context of that class. If you want to understand what we're talking about, you could just sign up to ukulelefoundations.com. This is week 5. By the way, the course is going to stay there. So even though it's not going to be live at that point, you can still access it and go make a date with yourself from week to week. Anyway, so week 5, the focus was mostly on syncopation and also kind of integrating all that we've seen so far. We also made some progress with playing melodies, setting the table for further. I'm going to start my timer. I knew I forgot something. Setting the table for fingerstyle, which I know a lot of you are super interested in. So by the way, just as a side note, I also have chat on. So if there's anyone that's on Facebook or on YouTube that's want to say a quick hello, that's wonderful. Always appreciate it. All right. So without any further ado, I'm going to start a practice. Again, I really highly recommend you follow that structure whenever you're practicing. I mean, there's a difference. Sometimes you're just going to be playing songs, but if you practice, try to set a time for warming up at least a little, then working on the stuff that's a bit challenging, not too much, just a bit, and then leaving time at the end just to have sheer fun is probably the best way to go. So with that in mind, let's go with a twist on what we talked about, which is the spider exercise. So it's really finger yoga, but across the strings. So let's do this. I'm at the 1st fret, but of course adjust it to your current level. So if you need to start at the 5th fret, that's fine. Find a spot where it's a bit challenging again, but not too much. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm switching strings, so this is a bit of a variation. It's called the spider. I'm gonna put the tab up this weekend. Okay, as you can tell, my fingers are shaking, which is a good sign. It means, Jeff, you need to warm up. And okay, once that's done, I'm gonna slowly bring them back down on the 1st string, like so. And then we're crossing over again, but the other way around. It's more challenging than it looks, and then when you're there, you go down like so. Okay, you could do that a couple of times. Another thing that I haven't talked about, which I am going to do right now, is sometimes as part of your warm-up, you might work with a metronome even though it's a warm-up, in which case, take it slow, make it slow, whatever you need to do. And one thing that people are interested in playing melodies, they usually, oh great, almost there. Come on, Jeff, you got this. Anyway, as I was gonna say, I think this is the one, yes. Perfect. C major scale, let's talk about that real quick. So you could use that, for example, or any scale with a metronome. And the purpose of the metronome here is just to give you a gentle nudge, not too much of a push, but not like so that you don't stay complacent. There you go. That's the word I'm looking for. Nice word. All right. Well, not nice word, but you know what I'm saying. So if I go to 50, for example, this means that every second beat, because those are half notes, I'll be playing. So this could be part of my warm up. It's not too fast. Maybe it's too fast for you, in which case just slow it down. So 1 and 2 and 3, and here we go. 2, yes. So you're still aiming for very good technique, but you are also, okay, coming back down. Whoops, a bit too early. Nice. Tap your foot. Yes. So over time, especially if you want to get faster, I can imagine I'm just going to go to 80. So that was 50. It's going to be quite a jump. But over time, over the weeks. Once you're really comfortable with that, you could switch over eventually to quarter notes. So you just replace the rhythm. So each click is going to be a note. 3 and 4. All right. So I guess that's my message to you is you could leave it for the warm-up. Don't go too fast on the warm-up. That's still semi-reasonable. I mean, you need to work your way up there. But this is what I wanted to say. The other thing I'm going to do, the last thing for the warm-up, I'm going to review very slightly, just because we're going to do a lot of rhythms today, and we're going to put everything together. So sometimes it's good to just refresh a bit what you already know, which is what I'm going to do right now. So let's go real quick here with the slide. So we have seen the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So we've seen those. We have a couple of options available there, which we're going to use a bit later. Okay, that's good. We also have, yes, hang on. So that was this one. We also have the same one, but in the context of swing. So 1 and 2. So I'm going to get myself warmed up with just a bit of swing. It's just free strumming. You know, get that hoarse sound going on. And last but not least, we talked about syncopation. So there's going to be a bit of everything in there today. Leading me to the moment we've all been waiting for, which is going to be working on this, all of those things in the context of songs. So I chose a selection of songs. I could have chosen other ones, I guess. But these are the ones I chose, and there's a reason for that. So stay tuned. All right, the first one is, whoa, this is a bit big. Bird on the Wire by Leonard Cohen. Well, first of all, he's a Montrealer at heart, so there's a good reason to choose him. Secondly, let's take a look at this song in the context of what we learned so far. There's a couple of elements there. So chord-wise, we have G, we have D, we have C that we know. We haven't talked all that much about G sus4, but I mean, don't mind the ugly fingering there. I'm going to show you what it's like. So to do a proper G sus4, you just do a G, and you just slide in, tuck in that pinky where you usually play a C chord, right? So it's like a G, sorry, with that added. So you need that pivot, you need to open that door real big. So okay, so that's for G sus4. Cool. A minor, that's easy. And then D sus4, that's an interesting one. So they suggest this fingering, which again, I might have reservations about. So you could either do the fingering they suggest, which is, that works. But you could just use a normal D, where you put the pinky on the 3rd fret. Whichever works better for you. So basically, it's the same idea, except with that extra finger here or without it. Okay, cool. So we have this, and we're going to talk about strumming. So in this case, it has a kind of 6/8 feel. We talked about that. What that really means is you go 2 triplets for each chord, basically. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, or more accurately, 2. So my foot tap, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's foot tap is every 3. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. It's a rather slow song. So try that at home. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and tap your foot. And all down strums. 2, 3, 1, 2. Like a bird, D on a wire. Back to G, drunk in a midnight sea. Back to G. Back to D, in my way to be free. Okay, so when there's, this is reminiscent of what we saw with Ode to Joy. So this is called embellishment. So that last bar there, so when you go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So it's basically a bar of each. But notice how my one of the 1, 2, 3 is a bit louder, but not by much, like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Another way to tackle it is go with all the strings on the first, and maybe it's not super accurate, but give or take the 3, the ones that are closer to the floor, these 3. So 2, 3, and 1. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. The other thing that we haven't talked about is sometimes you literally pick that note. So you make it sound on its own on the 1, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Or if you prefer, you could actually pick this string, the 3rd string. 1, 2. It might need to go slow here. Okay, back to the song. So this is for anything a bit waltzy, such as this song. This is what I would recommend, is usually all downstrokes and some variation of the 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Like a bird, back to D on a wire, back to G, da 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 da, back to G, back to D, and then 1 bar each, or less. Usually the point of the G sus4 is just embellishment, so you could improvise there. There's no hard and set rule. So that specific song is what it's about. So there's a second part here. I'm going to start from like a worm on a hook, like a nail from some old-fashioned book. I have saved all my ribbons for thee. And then, okay, so this is important. This touches on something else that we've been talking about. You know how we talked about syncopation, and one of them, the strategies, was that you have silence. So some form of silence or change in the rhythm between the sections, if you can. I mean, you don't have to, but when you get there, is cool. So what you might want to do, so let's see, all my ribbons. I'm going to stop on that. See, I stop. And if I see how I'm moving my hand, 2, 3, 1, 2. I hope that 2, 3. So you might simplify the rhythm. Here I went a bit extreme. I went with whole notes, but it's just to show you that contrast, or even just, you could have just gone and mute, G and mute. Okay, so I've saved all my ribbons for thee. I'm gonna improvise. I'm gonna simplify here. If I've been unkind, 1, 2. I hope that you can. 2, 3, 1, 2. So you could alternate between the two. So this is one of the songs I wanted to check with you today. Moving on to the next song, because we have several today. Okay, let's talk about the Beatles. I'll let you finish this one on your own time, of course. Again, it's to demonstrate what we've talked so far. So here are the chords. So we have a G, which is fine. G7, and then D. Okay, those are all chords that we're familiar with. Love Me Do is a super popular song, so I'm pretty sure everyone is familiar with it. Okay, it's one of them songs where we have some rhythm, which is fantastic. So what is this? Yes, you recognize it. Though this is a way of notating swing eighth notes. So it's or shuffle if you'd like, as we saw, because it's based on triplets. So here, actually they're suggesting we should go kind of a 6/8 approach. We'll see about that in a second, but just rhythm-wise, it means that we're gonna go 1, 2. So I'm counting. My counting now is for the beats, like so for the foot taps. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 8, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so I'm not so sure about that rhythm, but again, these are indications. At least now you could semi-read them, maybe with a bit of help. If you're not sure, put your metronome on with the shuffle, and I will do that, actually. Lead by example, Jeff, is always a good strategy. Okay, I'm going to put them. Okay, let's do this. Okay, 1 and 2, and let's go with G4, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 8 and okay. As you could tell here, the rhythm is at 140. So now I'm 40, so I'm very far away from home. So I'm gonna crank it up to 80 just to give a sense of 1. I'm gonna wait for the 1. 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 8, and 1, 2. Not too bad. I'm gonna get rid of those training wheels. I'm gonna crank it up to 100. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and yeah, that seems accurate actually. So Kodai method. Okay. Again, find a speed that works for you. This is practice. Let's remember there are mistakes. There are things were said and errors were made, which is normal. So once I have a kind of a hold on what works for me, let's say I'm going to stay around 100. I don't want to go to 146 because I'm still learning the song. Then I need to figure out how long each of those lasts. And I also need to figure out how that sounds when I switch between the chords. So let's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. And I'm going to go to G to C. So. Okay, so what I'm learning here is more or less, I'm gonna go love, love, love me do 2, 3, 4, da, da, 2, 3, 4, 1. So it's about each chord is worth a full bar. So just to get okay, so this is actually a good, I'm gonna change cameras real quick. This is a good example of making the song your own. So I'm looking at what is suggested, I'm establishing where it goes. And as I'm practicing this, I'm going, okay, you know what? what I'm going to do is, basically, it's mostly downstrokes with the odd upstroke in there. So to do that, what we're going to do is we're just going to keep that hand moving with that. You can try it at home. 1, 2, 3, 4. After the 4 is usually a good place to start throwing in this type of rhythm. Da, 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 da. Slower. Da, 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 ba, ba, da, ba, 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 ba. So try to keep that in mind. It won't be super accurate at first, but that's kind of not the point. The point is to start practicing, remember? So let's try that. Love, love me do. You know I love you. C, G, and back to C. So please. Okay, so see what I did there? So please, I'm holding that C chord, but I keep my hand moving. Love me, G7, and C, and G7. Okay, so that's just me. I feel like that G7 adds a nice touch to it. So personally, I would recommend doing it with G7 all throughout. Love, love me do. So G7 to C. You know I love you. It's also a great exercise in chord change. So as you saw before, here we go. So we're going 1, 2, sliding to C, sliding to G7. So it's using a couple of things. It's using anticipation. It's using that swing feel. And it's the Beatles. So, I mean, what could you ask for more? Okay, so I'm just going to complete that before moving on to the next song. So, yeah. So I'm going to do the first, should we do it with metronome? Yeah, why not? Just to keep ourselves accountable. Love, love me do. So first thing, you get into that groove. If you need to, just stay on that first chord. I'm going to go with G7. And when you're ready, and here we go. Love, love, switch to C. You know I love you. Go to G, back to C, and hold that chord. So please, 3, 4, love me do. Whoa, love me do. Okay, so that's for the verses. I don't think, oh yes, there's a bridge. I forgot about that. So for the bridge, it's kind of the same rhythm. So, except we last 2 bars on that first D chord. Someone to love, somebody new. I'm too low. Anyway, but you get the point. All right. So this is a great example. And it's fun. It's also a great song to play if there are people around you that can sing harmonies. It's just a ton of fun. All right, so this is for the Beatles. Let's move on to my next chosen example, which is Brown Eyed Girl. Yes, a favorite crowd pleaser for sure. Okay, a couple of things about Brown Eyed Girl. It's by Van Morrison. Everybody knows that song, or most people do anyway. So we need to have a C chord, which we should be familiar with by now. I'm just going to turn this slightly this way. Oh, actually, it's not the right one. Never mind. C, F, we need G7, and A minor. All chords that we should be familiar with by now. Okay, cool. As far as rhythm is concerned, What is this? What is this? 151 is our goal. So work your way up to that speed. Start slower. So we have 1, 2, and 3, and 4. Oh, that's the Allen strum. Or down, down, up, down, up. Don't forget to tap your foot. Up, down, up. Okay, cool. But the real kicker of that song, and it's straight feel, is this part. So as you could tell, I'm gonna probably make it a bit smaller here so that you could see it all. Yeah. So what is this, Jeff? Oh, this is very similar to what we saw this week for Smoke on the Water, except a bit more involved. So this is the infamous intro there is, which is going to give you a chance to practice. I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to practice my playing 2 strings at once, which is setting ourselves up for fingerstyle. So you could choose either a combination of thumb and index to play those 2 strings at once, or some people prefer using their ring and middle fingers. Try both to see how that feels. Thumb and index. And the first position we have here is, I'm going to show it to everyone. So we have, it's like this. It's 2-3, like so. So, sorry, 3-2. So, or you decide what works better for you. All right, so that's the bass position. You could take your time and read it for practicing. I'm just gonna do that recon pass. Okay, so it goes up, it goes back down, and then it starts at the 8th fret, so that's here, and it's the same. That's pretty high. Okay, so okay, this is for with finger, middle finger and index. So take your time, go through this until you feel comfortable, and once you do, go through the whole thing, add in the metronome. But this is another fun thing to exercise with this weekend, so you could learn the intro to Brown Eyed Girl. But we're going to focus for now on using one of our rhythms, which is the Allen strum, which goes 1, 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, down, down, up, down, 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 up. So the target speed, once again, is fairly fast. Here we're talking about 151. That might take you a while to get there. So just work with whatever you have. I'm gonna put it 100 just for now. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. Tap your foot, move your hand, don't ever stop your hand. And once the rhythm is clear in your head and you have that foot and hands moving, then you're gonna go with a C chord. And you're gonna stay there until it locks in. Okay, let's change chords each bar. 1 and F, and back to C, and to G7. Let's do that again. C, F, back to C, back to G7. And nothing in the running, hey, skipping and the jumping in the misty morning fog with our hearts a-thumping. Okay, and moving on to the chorus. Okay, so again, try to change the rhythm, try different rhythms there. Usually sparser on the chorus works. You brown-eyed, and resume. You, my brown-eyed girl. You could do what you want, but this is just a suggestion, just to contrast between the verse and the lyrics. So this is a good application, fairly easy. The hard part will be to get it up to, that was 100. Let's just show you what 130 looks like. So it's halfway there between 1, 2, 3, 4. And G7. And so on and so forth. So work your way up there slowly at your own pace. Okay, one last one. This is kind of more the fun part of things. And it's Friday, so we need to be mindful of everybody's time. Okay, so this song is a Tracy Chapman song called Talking About Revolution, which is a song that I find is really beautiful. It illustrates a couple of things. So first of all, there are some funky looking chords there that we might not be familiar with, such as C add 9. As I said before, don't get intimidated by the names of the chords. Sometimes they have super long names, but they're super easy. These ones are kind of R. So a C add 9, really what it is, it's just like a C, but you had that extra finger here on the 2nd fret on the 3rd string. Gives it that kind of a heary. That's C add 9. You could use it as an embellishment whenever you have a C. Okay, cool. So, okay. Back to Tracy. So we have G, C add 9. I could totally do a normal C. In fact, if I hit simplify, this is probably what's going to happen. See, it became a C. Same with E minor 7, fairly easy chord. And D sus4 we just talked about today, so look at that. Okay, as far as the rhythm, it's a 118 BPM is the alleged speed. Here what we have is interesting. See how it's using 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, which is great. So this is probably, and specifically it's ta, 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 ta. So it is the island strum, but if you notice the direction of the strums, it says down, 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 up, down, down. So it's basically using a same rhythm. So it is like what you know, down, down, up, down, up, except it's performing it, they're performing it with a different way of moving. So down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, down. So why are they doing that? It's because of they want to go after that sound that we talked about recently, right? They just want that sound. Personally, I have a different suggestion to make. What I would recommend you do is use the same rhythm that we saw with Adele's Hello. So it would go a little something like this. So. So, don't you know? I'm going to talk about that last. Okay, so basically having that anticipation, syncopation, I find it works better than the suggested rhythm here. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and. So we're playing on that last and. This is where we change our chord. So more details, and I'll let you practice this one over the weekend. But so I'm just gonna switch cameras real quick so that you can see what I'm talking about. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and back to E minor 7, 1 and 2 and 3 to D, G, C add 9, and then E minor 7, D. Okay, so if you look closely at what's going on here, it's suggesting I should add embellishment on that D part. So again, it's not prescribed. It's not prescriptive. Sorry. So you could do whatever you want. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. I'm gonna do that. Okay, so let's try to see what it sounds like. Again, this is the fun part for me, but it might not be fun for you, so choose something else for fun. Don't you know, talking about revolution, yeah. Still practice. So maybe I need to take a step back and focus on just the chord change until I have them really. Don't you know, talking about a revolution. I forgot the second line. It sounds like a whisper. You know what? I need to listen to the song again. It's been a while, but this is my fun part. I could just stay like that. And again, with the foot tap, if you want to throw in the metronome, be my guest. And I'm going to do that. And that's going to be the last thing I do for today because I'm looking at time. So they suggested the target destination speed is 118. So let's try that at 80 just to give us a chance. All right, let's do this. 3 and 4 and then 2 and 3 and 4. E minor, D. I messed up, that's okay. It's part of practice. E minor 7 and D. Just continue. If you need to, if you see you're messing up all the time, this is your cue to slow it down, maybe 10 BPM. 1 and 2 and 3. Get into it. Breathe. 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3. Much more in control. 4 and 1 and 2 and not that much in control apparently. 1 and 2 and 3 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So this is a great example that combines pretty much all that we've seen so far. That island strum, you could use the same type of movements they're suggesting. You could use the same rhythm I just did, which is kind of more like Adele with some twists there. The goal by now is to for you to start trying different things out until you find something that works for you. But yeah, so those are fun because we're combining embellishment, we're combining, some of them are swing, some of them are not swing, some of them have syncopation and anticipation. And we're combining different types of rhythms. So it's all going to come together this week. This week, the final week starts on Monday, week 6. We're going to really be focusing on bringing all this stuff together. I'm going to show you the most popular strums for every type of style. And then you'll know enough to be dangerous, which is my goal. So if there are any questions, now would be a fantastic time. If not, well, I mean, you don't have to. All right. So usually we have today a dog friend on the call as opposed to our usual cat friend. What's the name of that dog again? I forgot. Elsa. Hello.
This is Digit.
Yeah, we've seen Digit before. Digit is a ukulele dog.
Yes.
Yes. She is. What's Digit's favorite song on the ukulele?
Bojangles.
Nice. All right, maybe you should play Digit some of that song later on. So if you don't have any question, Elda, that's it for me. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. Thank you for being here. I hope you have fun with a couple of songs. I'll keep adding to that spreadsheet. So take a look in there. There's going to be a lot of fun songs this last week. So yeah, so that's it. Thank you for being here and have a great weekend. Bye.